Hi, welcome back to Waxing On. It's Monday, and that means jazz. And today we're looking at an album. I had this one on cassette, and if you follow the story, you know I can't find my cassette, so I'm doing kind of a more virtual version here. But back in the mid 1980s, Ottawa Jazz Festival saw this sax player, and he was amazing. Named Fraser MacPherson, an older fellow, and his style was so unlike many of the sax players I listened to. It was so relaxed and so easygoing, and what I liked best was his solos were so melodic. And you know, I've talked about this before on here. Sometimes you get soloists that want to show you everything they know in their solo break. And unfortunately, a lot of times that happens with sax players more than some of the other instruments. Keyboard players I found it with, but they'll play everything they know. Fraser's not like that. Fraser's telling a story. Fraser's solos really had a nice melody all their own. It wasn't high energy jazz. It was kind of easy listening music, but his style was just so relaxed and so easy. I picked up a couple of his albums. This was the one of them. It was called Jazz Prose, and it featured a couple of other Canadians on here. We got quartet, Fraser MacPherson, Ed Bickert, master guitar player. We've talked about him before with the Boss Brass and Rob McConnell's other small group. We had an album where it was Rob McConnell and just Ed. Ed did a lot of work in the studios and was sideman for a lot of great people. Steve Wallace, bass player. Seen him with Boss Brass as well. And Jake Hanna on drums. Now, when I saw them in I think it was probably the mid-'80s, I know Bickert was there and Steve Wallace was there. I'm not sure if Jack Hanna was playing drums then, but maybe a good chance he was. I'd seen him about 2 or 3 times. Every time he came to town, I made sure we attended. And it's just so accessible. And for people that say, oh, I don't like jazz or I'm really not into it, this is a good place to start. A good way to work into it, just to see how the tunes get manipulated and how beautifully they can be played. Now let's take a look at this album, Jazz Prose. Excuse me, it came out in 1985. Concord Jazz album. Here's the set list. You'd Be So Nice to Come Home To. All Alone, Slow Boat to China, Darn That Dream. I mean, I remember that one from the old Birth the Cool with Miles Davis. Happy Man, I'll Never Be the Same. It Could Happen to You. And There Is No Greater Love. A lot of classics, a lot of familiar tunes, and he does just such an excellent job with them. Now, checking on the streaming networks, he does have a few albums on there. I couldn't find this one, but he does have a lot of other albums, another couple of live ones as well to take a look at, and some from earlier in his career. Now, he's born in Manitoba, lived in Vancouver a long time, was in the studios in Vancouver for ages, and then leading his own group. And I'll tell you, when I see him playing with these small groups and what he was doing, it was just some of the best jazz I've heard in a long time. So do yourself a favor, check it out. Fraser MacPherson, tenor sax, streaming networks, lots of stuff, hard copies available. You may be lucky once in a while and find something like this in the discount bins, or you might find it at a yard sale or thrift store. But if not, you've still got a chance to listen to it here. Streaming networks, Fraser MacPherson, check it out. We'll see you on Wednesday when we're back with Classic Rock. Till then, everybody take care, stay safe. Thanks for stopping by.